mean friends, like backstabbing, which is like doing things to harm someone's social standing for your own self-gain, like telling a secret or revealing a personal or embarrassing fact about that person. Gossiping and rumors, happening a lot in social media, through Facebook. It used to be just notes and talking on the playground, but it's getting into a lot more technical forms of transmission. Also, I've heard people mention like the verbal abuse, a lot of swearing and name calling. That is definitely a verbally aggressive element of relational aggression. The exclusion, ostracism, not including people at the lunch table, at group activities, not inviting people to parties, things like that, which I'm sure some of us maybe remember from our own childhood. And then our biggest concern right now is the impact of relational aggression being transmitted through social media. So in that example I talked about earlier, people taking photos on their smartphones and then sending them out and having them go viral, and then also spreading rumors or slams through Facebook and other things like that. Physical aggression, a lot of us are more maybe familiar with what that looks like. That often includes fighting, hair pulling, punching, kicking, biting, and oftentimes relational aggression, if it persists long enough, can escalate into physical aggression.
They come from families that are highly stressed. Often they don't have any family members here, or if the family members are here, the family members are also disorganized and can be very angry. And so a lot of these kids have had some secure attachment, but at the same time, a lot of what they experience is parents who are disorganized, upset, and not able to be sensitive and responsive consistently. And so kids who simply have issues with attachment may have issues with identifying with somebody else's pain and feeling compassion for it. I remember how shocked I was with early research on little tiny kids like 3 years old. They would see other kids on the playground crying, and some of these little kids would run over and start beating them up. I thought, I never heard of that. And I worked in child welfare myself for a long time, never heard of it. And I thought, well, these are reputable people. They were there, they saw it happen. And they inquired about the kids' background, and these were kids, typical child welfare kids. And I had to think about that a long time, and I thought, you know, those kids thought that's what they were supposed to do. You know, when they're upset and crying, they're not comforted to say, oh, honey, baby, what's wrong? Those kids, those particular kids, would get beat up and yelled at themselves. So that's what you're supposed to do when you're 3 years old. You do what other people have done to you.
You know, the world is happening to them all the time. There's this responsivity and hypervigilance, constantly scanning the environment for who's going to take them down next. So that all adds up to the classroom where a teacher's asking them to do one more assignment. They don't know how to do it. They're flooded with frustration. They're not even naming that, and it comes out. And it's just like, it's energy. If we think about kind of the brain, this is the part where we get kind of fighting behavior coming literally as if there's a predator in their environment and they need to fight it off. Mm-hmm. And so it comes out in name calling or punching a kid or doing something to get themselves out of the classroom or literally running out of the classroom. And that's how we understand that behavior as opposed to just defiance or some choice that the child's making.
They may be in a room and they may not even know a group of girls who are in the room, but if they're talking amongst themselves, they have just become so prone to being anxious and looking for threats in their environment that they may think that those girls are talking about them and that they may go over and start aggressing against them.
Have a mixture. They do have a mixture of anger and hurt, and I'm going to do to others, and nobody's going to mess with me. And if somebody does something to me, I'm going to do it back even harder. All of those beliefs and actions are there. Every kid also has compassion, protection. I want to take care of, a sense of fairness. So part of the assessment is to look for all of those things, not just to
necessity, the kind of the undergirding that attachment, secure attachment provides a child with some, the basic processes of regulation, emotional regulation, from the very holding of that distressed baby, the distressed parent holding the distressed baby, and that mutual kind of calming process that we now know really creates an infrastructure in the body for stress regulations, dealing with stressful everyday incidents. And with that comes the capacity to weather day-to-day stress, as well as a kind of a cornerstone, a building block for so many other pieces, impulse control, and what we recently call the mentalization or reflective function, the capacity to step back, realize, I'm feeling ticked right now, being able to have some words in your head for that, and then being able to actually see the other, and then being able to, so that influences behavior. It's this momentary process that occurs that's built upon a caregiver, an adult, noticing that early on for a child, maybe giving the child the language or the awareness or response to that. So if that happens with enough repetitions, a child's learning to do that without even being aware that that's what they do.
Very clear in the research is that kids who experience long-term secure attachments tend to develop compassionate responses to others. In other words, they tend to develop empathy. And they tend to develop empathy because they've experienced it. They've experienced it pretty consistently from birth on.